Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Marketing with Purpose. Now, I have had this episode hanging out in my files for a little while now, but I've been saving it for just the right time to share with you guys. So my guest in this episode is Jaime Friedrichs, and you've heard from her before. Yeah, she's been our guest before. She was actually one of the panelists in our online fundraising events boot camp last summer. And when we were talking and planning for that boot camp, both of us were talking about how important it is to understand why your donors donate. So I started making a point of asking people in my consulting sessions, why do your donors donate? So that way I could better understand their donors and help them communicate with them. And what was interesting is I realized that a lot of them didn't know. And one of them actually asked me, why on earth would I need to know that? Like, why is it important? And so I immediately emailed Jaime and I was like, whoa, we have got to talk about this, because if they don't know why it's important, then we need to tell them. So it is my pleasure to reintroduce you to Jaime Friedrichs, founder of New Fundraising Pros, so she can give us her take on why we need to know why our donors donate. Let's get to business. You're on a mission and you just need more people to know about it. And whether you're brand new to marketing or a seasoned pro, we are all looking for answers to make marketing decisions with purpose. I'm Monica Pitts, a techie, crafty business owner, mom, and aerial dancer who solves communication challenges through technology. This podcast is all about digging in and going digital. I'll share my marketing know-how and business experience from almost 20 years of misadventures. I'll be your backup dancer so you can stop doubting and get moving towards marketing with purpose. So if right now, just after that introduction, you're thinking to yourself, how do I even figure out why my donors donate? Then you might want to save the date for a free workshop we have coming up in February. It's called an Audience Discovery Workshop. They are free to you and they are open Tuesday, February 9th, Wednesday, February 10th, and Saturday, February the 13th. You can sign up at mayecreate.com and hey, invite a member of your team so that way you can discover your audience together. Now, during this workshop, you're going to document who you need to communicate with to build awareness for your organization and deepen relationships with your supporters. You'll create a supporter persona of your most important audience, and I'll walk you through how to use that information to fuel your marketing. And you'll leave with ideas and an example process to connect with new supporters while nurturing existing relationships at the same time. So if figuring this out on your own is not an easy task for you, you don't have to do it alone. You can do it with your teammates and with me in a virtual workshop for free. So save the date or sign up right now at mayecreate.com. First, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, right?
Okay, I'll keep it really quick so we can get to the good stuff. So I've been a fundraiser for 17 years and worked with some great local nonprofits professionally. And a little over 2 years ago, went out on my own as a fundraising coach because I felt very called to help what I like to think of as our small but mighty nonprofits who may not have a full-time fundraiser on their staff. So the executive director and the board and a lot of people are balancing fundraising with other things, or who have no staff at all, or who have a newer fundraiser filling that role that doesn't have all the infrastructure behind them, and helping these groups make the most of their fundraising efforts, do the highest return things, treat their donors really well, and understand sort of the professional side of fundraising so that they can do better and raise lots more money. This summer, because I really wanted to be able to give more hands-on feedback to more nonprofits, especially during the really difficult time with the pandemic when we're all having to do everything so differently. And it's just the art of adaptation constantly. I created a group called New Fundraising Pros online. It's completely free and open to anyone who wants to learn more about fundraising and grow their fundraising efforts. It's just a trusted, safe place where you can get feedback or post questions. I'll read and answer every post, and sort of a low pressure way to get free advice.
Like a resource like a research
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's like a window into the fundraiser's soul. But I think, this is a digression, so you can cut this out if you need to, but I think fundraising can be really lonely, whether you're the fundraising professional or the executive director or the volunteer who's in charge of it. It's one of those things that not everyone understands what you're going through, and you can feel just sort of out on a limb by yourself. And I think it's really helpful to be able to connect with other people who are doing it too, and just kick things around and commiserate and give each other encouragement and just get more confidence. A lot of fundraising is being confident in your mission and what you're asking for. And so I hope that what the group is doing for people is making them feel more confident about their fundraising efforts, and I think that'll make them better.
So Jamie, I was in a consulting call the other day, and I told one of I don't know if they're my clients or if they're my tribe, who knows, but I told them that they needed to understand why their donors donate. I said, why do your donors donate? And they responded with, I mean, why would I need to know that? And I was just blown away, because I have a business background, and understanding why people buy things is really, really important to me, so I can sell more things. And I don't know. And so here I am talking to you, because I didn't even like have the vocabulary to be like, I was just so taken back. I was like, what? Anyway, tell me the answer to that question. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think I have 3 answers to this question. The first is exactly with what your business background heart told you, like why it clutched up, which is like, but how do you know how to be effective if you don't know why people give? And the fact is, your fundraising does become a lot more effective when you understand the motivations of your donors, especially of your current donors, by actually talking to them and asking them why they give to your organization. And so, number one, it just makes you more effective. So you can then use what you hear from them as you make future asks, either directly to them or just, the more general through your direct mail and on your website and all those things. You can really hone in on the pieces of your mission and what you do that is most attractive to your donors. But then especially as you're getting to know donors individually, actually making your asks that are very tailored to their interests makes it so much easier for them to say yes, because that the thing that you're asking them to support your organization in doing is what they want you to be doing, and it's part of the reason why they think that you're really important. It's also, I think, really helpful for your materials when, as you should be, you're reporting back to your donors on what you did with their gifts and why it allowed you, how they allowed you to make a difference through whatever it is your mission is. And so when you are designing, whether you call it an impact report or gratitude pieces or even just thank you letters, again, you want to highlight the things that they are most interested in, because that's a nice thing to do. I mean, it means that they will actually read and retain the thing that you're talking about, that they will actually read your letter because it's about the thing that they like about your mission. Mm-hmm. But then it's also sort of nice to talk to people about what they like to talk about rather than what you think they need to hear about. So that we all get so much, whether we're talking about email or direct mail or social media posting or putting out videos or anything, we all get so much media at us all the time and so many things to read and watch and listen to. When you are tailoring the things that you are putting out to what people are actually interested in as relates to your organization, you're dramatically increasing the odds that they will actually read this very nice letter that you spent so much time on, or watch the sweet video that you've put on your social media. So I guess if you're not doing any communicating with your donors, then I guess you don't really need to know. But I don't know how you're getting donations then. So, um, but yeah, so that's the first thing, is to know how to talk to them just to be more effective. And when you do that, it results in more donations. When you are really good at responding to, someone makes a gift and you understand why, and you send them a thank you that says thank you for your gift, and it reflects the why they gave, then one, they may just give again, but two, when you go back and ask them again, they're more likely to say yes. And there's all sorts of lovely fundraising data out in the universe about how being really effective with your thank you strategy increases the next donation that they give, so that when they give again, maybe instead of giving $50, they give $100 and beyond, because again, you're reflecting back to them the thing that's really important to them. Second thing that I think makes it really effective and is important, and again is why you as a business owner want to understand why your customers choose May Create for their marketing and web design and those needs. You want to be able to find more of them. And so almost there very few, maybe no nonprofits have all the donors that they need to give them the philanthropic support that's going to allow them to do their mission at the highest level and reach all the people who need them to do what they do. We always need to look for more donors. And if you understand why people love your organization and some basic details about your existing donors, it makes it a lot easier to find other people who are like them, who then you can tell about your organization, highlighting the things that reflect why your current donors give. And then those people will fall in love with you and give you money and become, again, donors to then reflect back to them about that impact piece and ask them to give again.
And you can use that information. I feel like I think of it as like buzzwords in like a buyer persona or an ideal like customer avatar. And then whenever I hear people talking, and it doesn't matter where they are, like if they say those things, I'm like, ooh, oh yeah, this is person.
These are my people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like when a client, like not a client, but when a prospect says, we get the job done right, or like value is our number one priority, or we treat our employees like family, or we have a super like long-lived group of employees, like we retain our employees for a really long time. I'm like, you're going to be a great client. I want to work with you because they have the same values that I do. And so that makes me like, I just know, like as soon as they say it, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so great. I can't wait. I can't wait to tell your story. It's going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. One thing that I had to ask of you is, so you said like, as you're going back to ask him again, well, you're gonna have to track that somehow, or like have that organized somehow. And yeah, I have like Stacy who manages to remember absolutely everything. And so she will literally equip me because I'm dyslexic, and there are times where I remember lots of stuff and then other times I remember nothing. And she will literally equip me if I'm going to a trade show with pictures of people, their names, and their logos. I'm like, oh yeah, that person with the red logo who lives in St. Louis and has a wife and 4 kids and just moved from Illinois, but I have no idea what their name is because I don't remember, right? How do you keep track of that stuff, especially if you're a small organization and you're not like, I mean, I guess you could use Salesforce or something, but any suggestions?
Yeah, so donor management software is what it is in Salesforce can be used for this, but there are also like way cheaper things
so
that you can use.
Like every time a client says, and now we want to integrate this with Salesforce, I'm like, and now I'm going to go hide underneath my desk for the next 2 hours because I don't want to do that. Anyway, go on.
So there are lots of options at all price points for tracking that sort of thing. But I think we're talking about 2 types of tracking. We're talking about sort of the macro level tracking, where you're listening to many donors about their interests and passion for your organization and hearing some general themes. And that's something that you're going to put into sort of your broader communications. At the same time, fundraising, really good relationship development fundraising you should have some donors that you're looking to understand why they give to your organization, because it's part of the get to know you. We call it cultivation in the fundraising biz, but I mean, it's really get to know you, right? Getting to know each other. They're getting to know your organization. You're getting to know them. The relationship is building and deepening. And so this is a key component of wanting to understand that. And that's what you put in your database with that person. But it's also, I mean, it's not ideal, but I have clients who do it. You can do this in an Excel spreadsheet. It's depending on how many donors you have. If you're not ready for a full-fledged database, even if you have an Excel spreadsheet with all your donors on it, you can still use one of your columns to say a few notes that are, the demographic things or things that you want to know about them. And one of the things that you probably want to know about them is why they are interested in your organization. Where does that passion come from? Mm-hmm. So you can put it somewhere. But if you do have a donor management software, there will likely be a specific place to put it, and it's very easy to put it into their file so that, and then the question is, well, why do you do this? Well, the idea is when you're next going to have a conversation with them, that you refer back just as part of your preparation and remind yourself, oh, they're interested in our cause because this thing happened in their background, or they knew a person who was impacted by our mission, or they heard about us and started giving and they liked this particular story. And then, you can start to tailor your conversation around that, and make sure that the getting to know you things that you're sharing about your organization reflect the things that they want to hear about.
So what's number 3?
So the third thing is the really like pie in the sky thing, but we're talking to nonprofit people here, right? And so I count myself among them. My whole career has been spent in nonprofits, and we do things because it's good, and we do things because it's the right thing to do. And that's why a lot of us went to work in nonprofits, and I think that's why you work with nonprofits. Yeah. But it's and why, maybe some of the people that you're talking to in these prospect calls are maybe founders of nonprofits, or have given or giving like lots of volunteer time to nonprofits and just getting started out, because it is good and it is right and it is moral. Whatever the mission is of the nonprofit. And from a fundraiser perspective, knowing why your donors give is the right thing to do, because it means that you are not looking at your donors like funders or money providers or ATMs as the worst case scenario, that you're really thinking about them as people who have a sincere interest in your mission. And so if you are interested, authentically interested in why they give, it means that you will treat your donors better. It means you will be able to help them achieve their own sense of fulfillment by giving to your organization, because it is a cause that they care about. And the other thing, we as nonprofit people are do-gooders, and we want to do things because it's right and it's moral. Sometimes that can get into a little bit of a dark spot for some of us, and I say us for real, where there's a little sense of kind of entitlement, like we're doing such good work, people should give to us. Well, yes, that's somewhat true, but also, we need to earn the trust of the people who are giving to us, and so that they can feel really good about it. And, one thing that really good fundraising does that is tricky for organizations, especially smaller or earlier stage organizations, it forces you to answer some tough questions and get organized and plan ahead in a way that, like, when we're first starting a nonprofit, you don't even have the luxury and time to do. Like, you're trying to juggle all the balls and do all the things. But when we're thinking about engaging in the best way with donors, we are doing some thinking ahead of what we're going to spend their money on, so that we can tell them, and what is the ultimate impact of the activities that we're doing day to day. And So while in some ways it's easier to like show up and just try to do the mission, taking that step back to uh, be able to really share in a meaningful way what it is you're doing
Mhm.
to make the impact that you say you're making,
Mhm.
can be really, really helpful. So I think that all kind of ties in with understanding your donors and your donors understanding you.
I think it ties in. It's like an attitude of servitude, if that makes
Yes.
sense. Like while I am my own boss, I'm really not, because I have lots of bosses. Like,
Yeah.
man, they're all my clients. I have to serve
Yeah.
them, and so I feel like nonprofits often very much focus on the people or the thing that they serve, this mission, and I always like to kind of turn it on its head and be like, well, you serve more than just them, because you also serve your donors. You serve
Mhm.
them by allowing them to be involved in your cause, and they have to know
Yeah.
that they're involved. And they
Yeah.
don't know unless you tell them, because they're not they're not there every single day, right? So it's kind of a catch 22. So my next question for you, is good ways to discover this. Like you said, a conversation.
Mm.
And to me, that definitely means like a phone call or like a video conference. Um, are there, like, what do you find is the best, most effective way to learn this information from people?
Yeah, I think again there are kind of a lot of levels, and so I do love to see nonprofits do like a general donor satisfaction survey,
Mhm.
whether it is hard copy or on email, as well as every time you have an event, you should be getting feedback from all of the attendees. And part of that feedback, in addition to being about the event specifically, should include, what are their specific interests in your organization, or why are they interested in your organization. And so that can give you, some larger scale data to look into. But yes, I think if you are serious about raising money for your organization, conversations with people who already give or who might give to your organization are a part of that.
Mhm.
And this question should always be a part of those conversations, whether they're happening by phone or in person or however. And a great way to just get to have a conversation with someone, and especially to learn this information, is to do a thank you call. And so it really is when someone gives to your organization, picking up the phone and saying, thank you so much for your gift that we received yesterday from you for $50. I just wanted to call and tell you how much we really appreciate it. Um, do you have a quick minute? I would love to know what inspired you to make this gift today.
Mhm.
And then what they say, I mean, that's part of it. And then if it's vague, you might ask some more leading questions about, what are there specific areas of what we do that you're really interested in, or how did you get introduced to what we're doing here? And that's all really good information to have about your donors. And again, it lets them know that you're thinking of them as a real full person and not just a writer of checks.
I feel like, especially when you're small, especially
Mhm.
when you're small and your audience is small, that is like your greatest opportunity to really understand what's going on and do all those personal touches, and then really build that good base of supporters, whether it's for your business or for your organization. And I feel like everybody comes to me wanting like this automation,
Mhm.
and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, we can automate some of this stuff and it's great, but you can't automate it until you know who you're automating it for. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't work. And for me, I feel like I have to hear these conversations to know these people, and then I could automate the rest of the process. Like, I could have 10 conversations and really understand like who I'm writing for and who I'm talking to in my marketing, and then I could send out a survey and like get some more feedback that way. But I feel like if I don't have that personal interaction, I'm not like
Mhm.
really consuming it and owning it and understanding these people. Because when I write for marketing, which, there's so much of that going on in your nonprofit. You have to write your emails, you have to do your social media, you have to write stuff on your website, you have to do all those things. um, I write it to someone. I write it to Jaime. You're in my mind, and I'm writing it to you.
Yeah.
So if you don't know them, I think it gets more difficult. But I do feel like people kind of shy away from that. They want to do the survey. They want to do, those quick things, but you can even do personal emails too. And
Mhm.
I mean, just those personal follow-up touches, I feel like are the thank yous that people remember.
Yeah. And I do hear the hesitation sometimes from, I work mostly with executive directors. And so of like, you do all the things. You want me to pick up the phone every day and call all my donors? Like how am I going to have time to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I like to tell people is just like carve out time. Like say you have a weekly time and it is 30 minutes even. You can call a lot of people in 30 minutes. Most of these are not long phone calls. I mean, most of the time you're not going to get someone live that people don't answer a number that they don't recognize. And so you're likely going to be leaving messages anyway for them to hopefully call you back, and you just tell them you're calling to thank them and you appreciate it so much and you'd love to chat about why they are so interested in your organization if they have a few minutes sometime, and call them back. So a lot of them are going to be like that. Like those don't take very long to kind of whip down. And then when you do get someone on the phone, the conversation is probably not going to take you that long to really still make a meaningful connection. And so what I tell busy executive directors is just set aside this, whether it's 30 minutes a week or an hour a week or 15 minutes a day, whatever you feel like you can handle. And then you just do the ones you can do in that time. And if you don't call everyone, that's okay. You called way more people than you otherwise would have called. And so like that's a really big win for you, and a really big step forward from going from not interacting with your donors to suddenly talking with several donors a week.
It'll fill your cup too. Like,
yeah. Oh gosh, it feels
we were
so
talking
good.
about how, you feel like you're an island, or you're on an island by yourself while you're fundraising.
Mhm.
But when I talk to people who are my clients, just even if I'm talking to them about something that isn't super relevant to our relationship as marketer and business, I love it. It's so great to hear their voices and know, and especially if you're asking them about why they love you, it reminds you why you should love yourself. Because it's hard when you're in the grind every day to remember why you do it. And so there's so many reasons. See, it can even be selfish. So you can feel good about yourself. That's why you should know why your donors donate.
That's a great fourth reason. You know what though? That's so true, because the answer to any of these questions, whether it's via survey or phone call or email, however they're responding, they're probably going to say lovely, glowing things about your organization. And boy, isn't that going to feel great? So I didn't even think about the selfish reason, but yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
It's going to make you feel really good.
And it helps you. I swear it does, though, help me when I'm doing the marketing. First, I write all these reasons why because we write from our personal perspective. It's our own narrative. And then you realize that it's not about you. It's about them.
It's about
And
them.
then you have to ask yourself, well, why did I write all these things? And what would they need to hear? Like, why did I think they needed to hear that? And it's because of the things that they've told you. And then you got to flip it on its head and then, write it to them. But
And then it becomes more effective.
Yeah.
You is a magic word in, at least in fundraising, writing fundraising materials. I don't know if it's a magic marketing word too, but the more you use the.
We have four reasons why you need to know why your donors donate. So what was the first one, Jamie?
The first one is it is just more effective in general for communicating with your donors going forward. And then the second one was to be able to find more donors because they're likely going to be like the donors that you already have in some way. And then the third one was it's the right thing to do, to treat your donors like people, and it's good. It's good for your soul. And the fourth one is totally selfish. It's going to make you feel amazing.
Yes. So do it. Just do it. There you go. That's my pep talk. And with that, we shall wrap up. Well, thank you very much, Jamie. I really appreciate it. Why don't you tell people how to contact you in case they have questions or want to hang out on, your group.
So join the group. It's totally free and no obligations or anything. And that you can join at www.newfundraisingpros.com. Or feel free to send me an email or find me on Facebook. You can email me, Jaime, Jaime, at maximizingnonprofits.com. That's the website that I've used for my fundraising coaching. But yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help, and I'll talk about fundraising with just about anyone, but especially with you.
Yeah, you're like, I just don't want to be on the island by myself right now.
Oh, yeah.
The fundraising.
It's weird. It's weird times.
So if after listening to Jaime's 3 reasons why, you're sitting there scratching your head thinking, man, I really need to do this. How do I get this done? I want to remind you that we can get this done together at the Audience Discovery Workshop. So hop on over to mayecreate.com and reserve a spot in one of our sessions that second week of February. And then we together will document who you need to communicate with to build awareness for your organization. And we'll create a supporter persona of your most important audience. I'll walk you through how you can use the information to fuel your marketing. And you'll leave with ideas and an example process to connect with new supporters while nurturing existing relationships at the same time. So hop on over to mayecreate.com and grab your seat today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Marketing with Purpose. And until next time, go forth and market with purpose.